Well, let's talk now to Harriet Minter, who edits the Women in Leadership section in The Guardian. She joins us now from our central London studio. Very good afternoon to you. So companies with over 250 employees will have to publish details of what they pay men and women in their companies. Will publishing figures, do you think, make any difference?
I definitely think it'll make a difference. Where we are now is there is roughly, for a man and a woman doing the same job with the same qualifications, a 10% pay gap. And that's not acceptable. And we've tried to decrease that, and we've tried to get companies to do it voluntarily. But although it is decreasing, it's decreasing at a very, very slow rate. And we know that actually if we want to get to equal pay, at the current rate, that's going to take nearly another generation. And that's just too slow. So anything we can do to speed that up and to bring about equal pay sooner has to be a good thing.
But for these figures to have any real impact, they really have to compare like with like, don't they? They have to compare a woman doing a job with a man doing exactly the same job and the same hours and the same conditions. And that's not necessarily what we're going to get here, is it?
You do have to compare like with like, but you also have to be able to take an overview and look at what really a company is doing to support its female employees. So actually, we get very obsessed with the concept of hours in this country and how many hours have you worked. But if you're doing a really good job and you are achieving the same amount, actually in a smaller time, shouldn't you be rewarded for that as well? What we really need to do is get to the point where we're looking at what people are producing rather than just the number of hours they're sitting in an office.
Well,
we're not there yet, but starting to look at how we remunerate people for their work is a really good step.
I'm just looking to see what this data is likely to do to try to help us understand the picture, because those figures, for example, won't necessarily tell us much about how women are treated by an employer and in a particular company. They're not necessarily going to tell us the level of how many senior management roles there are, for example, and whether or not people have been properly promoted. It will still leave a lot of questions.
It will leave a lot of questions. And I don't think we should see this as a silver bullet answer. Okay, it's not going to solve gender equality in the workplace in one strike. But what it will do is give women a really good idea of which companies are taking it seriously. So if you're a company with a really big gender pay gap, as a woman, I'm not going to want to work for you. I'm going to want to go and work for one of your competitors. So if you have that really big pay gap and you want me to work for you, you're going to have to start showing me other ways that you're going to benefit me. And I think it's going to really start, hopefully, to make employers think about what they can do to support the women in their organisations.
You talked about a pay gap figure of about 10%. There are some who say that they've looked at figures for younger women, women in their 20s in particular, and say that in that particular age group, women are doing a lot better. That in some cases, they're earning more than men at equivalent levels in their companies. So do you think this is a problem that will gradually fade out as time goes on, that it's the older generations that it's only affecting now?
I think it will fade out as time goes on, but that fade out is incredibly slow. So we know now that at the current rate, that fade out is going to take over 70 years. Personally, I don't want to wait 70 years. There are a lot of women who are working now who are being underpaid for the work that they do. We know that on average, women end their career having earned £400,000 less than a man. That's just not acceptable. I'm all for kind of things changing at their own pace, but not when it is that slow. We really need change now, and we need to get proactive about it. If we just wait around for it, it's not going to happen.
OK, Harriet Minter, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.